and gentlemen, you know what time it is.
What time is it?
It's Sunday. It's around 8 p.m. or it's probably Monday. Most people probably listen to this on Monday. No, it's time for another Rage Select podcast right here on Rage Select. I'm Jeff.
Oh, it's only one of those?
Yes, it's one of those.
Okay.
Yep.
By the way, I'm John.
Yep. John, you've been, I feel like it's been 2 weeks since we've had a podcast. I don't know when the last time we didn't have a pod, at least every other week, sometimes 4 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Rage Select podcast, and welcome back to you.
I was busy playing the Untitled Goose game.
Oh, as was everybody, apparently.
Yeah.
It's funny because I feel like, I don't know what it is about that game, but it's just...
People like to be dicks to other people.
I guess. It's just like being a dick goose. That's what it is. That's what it is. Like, I could totally see that game of coming out and just like everybody was like, man, I don't know. It's fine. It's an indie game, but I don't know, man. That game is just
tapped into a just a feel that we all needed.
Hitman, but with birds and
comedic,
no killing. Yeah. Just I think it's the expression. I think it's the fact that when an AI NPC is looking at you, you just flap your wings and go
what's
like,
funny is their faces are blank outside of their nose.
Yep.
There is no, but you totally see an expression with them.
Yep.
Because their posture and everything in that game is great.
Yep. So, well, let's see. We have a weird news grouping this week, but before we started, I haven't been doing anything, but I know that you did something. I know there was, well, okay, let me put it this way. I am tangentially wrestling adjacent between having you and Amanda over here so often. What is AEW?
It's All Elite Wrestling.
Is this like an indie wrestling outfit?
No, it's on TNT, Turner Broadcasting.
But it's not WWE.
No.
It's just a
whole new company.
Is this
just started.
The first thing they've ever done?
The first episode of their TV series was this past Wednesday.
Okay.
Now they've had like 2 or 3 pay-per-views before then. But yeah, no, it's crazy.
What's their claim to fame? Is this like the XFL? Do they like punch each other?
No,
I guess they always punch each other.
Yeah, I mean it's wrestling. So most people, if they know these people, it originally started with a group of people who were big in Japan: Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Hangman Page, and then someone that left the WWE named Cody Rhodes.
Okay,
who is the son of the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes.
Okay.
And they all like wrestled together as a group under the Bullet Club in Japan.
So many things I didn't know
But they had a sub-faction within the Bullet Club called the Elite.
Okay.
And they have a YouTube channel called Being the Elite, in which they have like weekly, it's just a way for them to kind of promote themselves, like just like there's even like storylines that they do each week.
They play Elite Dangerous. They play a lot of Elite Dangerous.
No. But Kenny Omega is a video game player. He actually participates in like Fortnight tournaments and like other like fighting game tournaments like Street Fighter. He was also, if you remember, for Street Fighter 5, the Cody trailer where he was the mayor and there was a live action guy playing Cody as the mayor. That was Kenny Omega.
Oh, okay. All right.
So
enough.
It's
Is it like better? I mean, like I know that. I mean, just from you and then like other stuff that I hear about,
it's different.
There seems like there's a lot of kind of discontent with the WWE, just business practices and the way they treat their wrestlers and storylines and all kinds of stuff. So it's different. Do you think it has the potential to be like a big? To really take off, to be like a big thing?
I mean, I think if you ask them, are they competition? And it's like yes and no. Yes, they're competition because they are wrestling, but are they competition? No, because they're providing a different product.
Okay.
A different style.
So they're like more the good old games and less the Epic Game Store of wrestling outfits.
I guess. Yeah. I guess you could
Humble
say that.
Bundle. I'm just trying to put this in terms that I understand.
Yeah. It's probably like but yeah, so, they've got some wrestlers, some that you might have heard of. Chris Jericho, who used to be a big WWE guy, is their world champion right now.
What about that dick wrestler guy?
Joey Ryan actually is not part of the company. But one of my favorite wrestlers, Orange Cassidy, a guy who I think you would totally like, is in the company.
Is he orange? Does he paint himself orange?
No. Orange Cassidy is like the lackadaisical style wrestler.
Okay.
Like just everything is too much effort.
I can identify.
Yeah,
I can identify.
No, trust me. If you watch like some videos of him wrestling, I know you're not going to, but if you did, you would be like, I like this guy because he's a comedy wrestler.
Okay.
But also the thing is, he's actually a really good wrestler on top of it.
Okay.
So it's one of those things where he created a character, and it's a character that only works in wrestling.
Yeah.
But it is it's great because like when he's doing like attacks, like his big attacks, he's hitting people like as hard as I'm hitting you right now.
Okay.
And people can't see this, but I'm like lightly tapping Jeff in the leg with my foot, and like that's the strength and the speed at which he kicks. And like the fans, because of the way fans are, we treat it as it's the most brutal attack ever in the history of anything.
Okay,
so fans in the crowd are reacting to this, not really doing a lot.
Just a light tap, and everybody's like, "Oh, shit!"
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Which is great. Also, one of my ever favorite characters on AEW would be Lucha Soros.
Okay, that sounds great.
Which he's a dinosaur.
Okay,
and he has a
luchador dinosaur.
Yeah, he's a big dinosaur luchador guy.
Okay,
and he has a tag team partner, which they're called the Jurassic Express. His tag team partner is called Jungle Boy, which is actually the son of Luke Perry.
Has anybody told Matt about that?
I don't know.
I feel like a luchador.
But what's great is when they come out, Jungle Boy is on the shoulders of Luchasaurus when they come out.
Yes.
And it's like, I'm like really like, everyone should be like, oh my God, it's Devil Dinosaur in wrestling form.
Right.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And like no one references it. I'm like, why isn't anyone referencing Devil Dinosaur? Jesus Christ.
You got an untapped market, man. The memes write themselves.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's great. But the great thing about Luchasaurus is that he has a master's degree. And he really does, but he always like they'll talk, like they'll say something. He goes, well, actually, he puts on a pair of glasses over his mask. Is like, I have a master's degree, and we'll say something that has nothing to do with having a master's degree, but it's just making him. It's fucking great.
All right,
it's great.
Wrestling dinosaurs. Hey man, I can get behind that.
But there's like it's the first episode. They crown their first women's champion at the event, which is great. They, like I said, Chris Jericho is part of it, which he's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time.
Was that the thing that Jay and Silent Bob were at?
Yes.
Or it was like a big thing and they were in the front row?
And Kevin Smith had never been to a wrestling event before.
Oh.
And fucking loved it. He's like, I am a converted fan. Like on his Twitter, he's like, I am a converted fan and I will go to any AEW show that I can get tickets to because I am hardcore a fan now. This was fucking great. And he said exactly what I always say, which is, this is comic books in real life. This is good versus evil. And they're fighting, and whether it's scripted or not, they're doing things that are legitimately hurting their bodies.
Right.
And it's all for the entertainment of the fans.
Yeah.
And it's fucking great.
Sounds good.
Like he was, I was like, yes, thank you. Someone else gets it. But yeah, it was great.
Okay.
AEW Dynamite's Wednesdays on TNT.
Is it every Wednesday?
Every Wednesday on TNT.
Nice. All right.
It's the first time wrestling has been on the TNT network in 20 years.
Damn.
Which the previous show was WCW Nitro.
Well, speaking of live action comic books, we also got a trailer for Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
Which is
Birds of Prey and the fabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn.
Yes. I don't know. This doesn't look half bad. It kind of looks like a CW show more than like a big movie.
I just don't know how I feel about it.
Right. To me, it had a kind of a Deadpool-y vibe to it.
I mean, that's kind of what Harley Quinn has become in the comics.
Yeah. Which I don't know. I don't know. It seemed better than. It looks better than Suicide Squad. Maybe that's the thing.
Well, yeah, it does. So it's like I couldn't figure out what my biggest problem with this trailer was.
Yeah.
Until I think about my third viewing of it, which is there are no superhero costumes.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
You have Black Canary in this. You have Batgirl, Cassandra Cain. Right? Cassie Kane?
I have no idea.
Who is talking, but even though in the comics is a mute. You have Renee Montoya. You have...
Black Canary's in here somewhere too, right?
Yeah, she's she's all throughout this. She's the one she's talking to through most of the trailer.
It's mostly because they're not in costumes.
You have Huntress, and none of them are wearing costumes. You have Victor Zaz, and he barely has any hash marks on his body.
Yeah.
You have Black Mask, who is not wearing a black mask. It's just kind of one of those things where Like that, it took me a minute to realize it. And when I realized, I'm like, we're going back to the world that's afraid to wear costumes.
Yeah. By the same token, though, I think that, if you had to pick one thing from Suicide Squad that worked, well, I'd say that, like, Will Smith is good and he's fun.
I will say this about the Suicide Squad movie.
Yeah.
That cast was great. I love that cast. I don't think anyone was miscast.
Okay, I agree with that.
That script was fucking terrible.
It's just that they kept focusing on the people that I had not as much interest in. Like, I didn't really give a shit about Enchantress or Colonel Flag.
I know.
Margot Robbie was great in that.
Will Smith was great.
Will Smith was great in that.
What's his name that played fucking Boomerang?
Captain
was great.
Boomerang, yep, he was good too. Like
the Joker was probably the only miscast. If you actually really he shouldn't have even been in that movie.
I don't know. I guess this kind of like fits more in the whole like it's kind of what zany crime, girl power, fight stuff, and I'm like. Okay, I'm fine with this. Like, I'm not, I'm not just like, oh my god, I gotta go see it. I gotta pre-order my day one ticket.
I'll say this: I'll probably see this before I ever see Joker.
Well, that's I still am kind of interested in Joker just because I feel like the narrative around Joker has become so huge that I feel like I'm going to end up seeing it, and no matter what it is, I'm just going to be like. Well, it's fine, but like everybody's just fucking losing their minds about.
The director's also being a little bit of a putz about it.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%. Like the whole thing. I just want to go see a movie, but I don't know. You know what this looks like to me? This looks like one of those movies where I probably won't be willing to leave the house and see it in the theater, but eventually it'll show up on like Netflix or something, and I'll be like. Oh yeah, I kind of wanted to watch that, and then just watch it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Also, we were talking before we started about how it seems like Margot Robbie has gotten a little bit more of that like Batman the Animated Series Brooklyn tang in her vocal delivery, which I like. I mean, it makes her stand out more. She also, it seems like they're doing the Harley Quinn thing, right, where she's crazy Deadpool lunatic, and then everybody else is kind of just trying to.
Yeah, I mean, my big thing is like this. Why not just make it a Harley Quinn movie? Because it really feels like the Birds of Prey are secondary to this movie.
Yeah, I mean, the trailer really is like just about every single shot is her. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't seem like the worst thing I've ever seen.
Someone went, well, we can't give Harley Quinn her own movie. Who else we got? Well, we have other females in the Birds of Prey. Are those a team of female superheroes? Yeah, fine. Let's use them.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. It seems all right. I don't know. Yeah. That's my whole thing. Anyway,
it's a really long title, though.
It is indeed. Well, speaking of Warner Brothers, let's get into gaming news.
Oh, okay.
So last week we got a kind of a big report. So, okay, this one's a little bit difficult to explain. In the UK, apparently the UK has this this thing called the video game tax relief, and it's supposed to be used by like indie developers that are making like specifically things to basically reduce their tax burden in the UK. So that they don't have to, so they've got a little bit more leeway to basically make games. Part of it is based around this idea that like they have to be contributing to like British society. Like it's a thing where it's not just like, yeah, okay, this is free money, take it, whatever. Well, there's a report last week that came out that apparently this fund is mainly like, I think it's something like 80% or 80% of the total relief fund is being used by giant corporations, many of which aren't even in the UK.
Wow.
And I think the biggest of which is Warner Brothers. So Warner Brothers got apparently £60 million out of this, of tax relief in the UK. There's a couple others in here. Sony got 30 million. Sega got 20 million. So I don't know. It just kind of comes off as this thing where it's like, I mean, you guys make all these huge video games, and then I don't know. It's one of those things where I feel like these days we're just seeing kind of story after story about video game developers making insane amounts of money, and then just at every point to dodge the responsibility they would have.
Less so developers and more so publishers.
Yes, absolutely. That's what I mean. I guess it's just, it comes off as strange because the companies listed here.
Because I haven't heard any developers that are just raking in the dough. Mostly publishers.
Apparently, that's 80%, that there is 20% of indie game developers doing business in the UK that are getting this. But the fact that the lion's share of this is being taken up by companies that are already making just huge amounts of money is just, I don't know, it just kind of feels like a little kick in the nuts. I mean, it's not like I'm going to get anything out of Sony if they pay their taxes in the UK, but by the same token, I don't know. I guess it's just, we've seen so much recently about large developers, kind of pleading poverty and being like, well, games cost so much to make these days, and we're barely making any money. And then it's like, well, you saved several million pounds in taxes, so
yeah,
I don't know.
Oh no, I think it's shitty. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what to say other than that. Yeah, I think it's shitty.
It's just that we've seen a story like this so often that it's just kind of like, well, of course they're exploiting the tax code.
Is there anything coming out of the fact that this has been pointed out that they're exploiting it?
I think it's a normal thing where people are mad, and that's the end of it. I mean, I don't know.
That's my thing. Is it a thing of now that the people in the UK are trying to get rid of that tax law and it's going to fuck over the smaller guys now because of what they did, or is it just someone going, hey, we looked into this and it turns out this is what's going on? Nothing's going to change that. It's going to keep going on, but it's just something we wanted to point out.
That one. Also, okay. I feel like in the UK that they probably, they've got a whole other thing that they're dealing with right now. So, in any case, that's basically the aperitif of kind of corporate scumminess. We got a lot of corporate scumminess stories. And, earlier this year, I feel like we did a lot of Fallout 76. We did a lot of Anthem. We did a lot of Red Dead Redemption Online. But the real whipping boy of the Rage Like podcast these days is Borderlands 3. And this week,
Borderlands 3 and more, what's his name?
Randy Pitchford.
Yeah.
So this week we got a story that basically talked where Troy Baker came out and was talking about why he wasn't hired to do the voice of Reese.
Oh, yeah.
Borderlands 3. And it turns out that the reason that he wasn't was because Borderlands basically did not. He's a SAG-AFTRA the voice actor union member, and that apparently Gearbox had no interest in dealing with that union. Specifically, now, and this is where it gets into a weird territory, Gearbox has come out and basically said it's against Texas law for them to engage with this union because Texas is a
right to work
state. At which point the voice actors union came back and said, no, that's not true. The only thing that would prevent you from engaging with a union company in a right to work state is that all of the voice actors would have to kind of be treated, whether they were union or not, would have to be treated in line with what the union standards are in order for the Voice Actors Guild union to engage in business with Gearbox.
Yes.
So
that's how Voice Actor Guild actors can do stuff that's in states that are right to work, is that as long as that company is meeting all the regulations that that guild requires, then it's okay.
Yeah. Which, given so much of what we've heard in the past, it seems like the reason that they didn't do this was because they wanted to. I mean, we already have the story about the guy that was the Claptrap voice not getting paid, and then, it just seems... this is a jump, but it seems pretty clear that Gearbox didn't want to live up to that standard of basically just, ethical working hours, and it's not like they had to get a golden limo to pick up Troy Baker from the airport and put him in his own private mansion for 6 weeks and cater him nothing but the most fabulous food on the planet. But I think if anything, if we've learned anything over the last couple of months with all the stories that have been coming out and for years beforehand, it's that Randy Pitchford and Gearbox do not want to. They want to make games as cheaply as possible and keep as much of the money as they humanly can.
Yeah.
And if that means recasting voice actors or not casting voice actors or, any of that stuff, then they 100% will do that. And I don't know. It's, again, given the fact that what we've seen of the Borderlands 3 apparently has sold very, very well in the Epic Game Store. Apparently Borderlands 3 has sold better than Borderlands 2 ever did. Again, it kind of just comes off as like, I don't know, but this goes back to just like, how long has it been that Gearbox has been kind of a shit show, right? Is it forever? I mean, I guess, like, what, pre-Colonial Marines, I guess, back when it was like Borderlands 1, and there was a time when I don't feel like Gearbox was really, we didn't hear as much about Randy Pitchford.
Well, because they probably kept it hidden.
Yes, probably so. But I don't know. This just seems like such a dick move, right? Like, I know that I can't hear it because I can't distinguish different voice actors. Like, Michael and I have this conversation all the time. I cannot, just like, oh, it's Troy Baker, and I'm like, I don't.
I'm definitely one of those people that I can distinguish voices.
Because I know you're like that too, right? You really tell the difference. Do you think that not bringing back a voice actor for like a sequel has any effect on your enjoyment, as long as the person that they get? I mean, regardless of the business stuff, but like just when you're playing a game, if you hear a change in the voice actor, does that make a difference, or does it depend on like how big that character is in the game?
Kind of. It depends on a lot of different factors.
Okay.
I mean, and not even with video games, but with anything really,
like animation,
or just whatever. There are times that it's like, you know what, I don't care. It sounds close enough that whatever, I know it's a different person, but it's close enough that I can get over it.
Right.
And then there's sometimes where it's just like the voice has changed so drastically.
Yeah.
That it bothers me.
I think
like the real Ghostbusters when they for Peter Venkman, when they changed Peter Venkman's voice, that always bothered me.
Okay.
Because they went from the guy who did Garfield,
Lorenzo Music.
Yeah, Lorenzo Music, and apparently Bill Murray was upset, or it got back to them that Bill Murray was upset that he didn't like the voice. Like, he's like, that guy sounds nothing like me.
Okay.
So then they recast it as
I can't.
I just had it in my head, and it left. It's the guy from Full House. Cut it out.
Dave Coulier.
Dave Coulier.
Oh, okay.
It was replaced with Dave Coulier, and Dave Coulier was garbage as Peter Venkman because it sounded closer to Bill Murray.
Okay. I guess the only time that it really came in for me was in MGS5 when they replaced David Hayter with Kiefer Sutherland, and it was just like, these two don't really sound anything alike. And it'd be one thing if this was Metal Gear Solid 2, but there've been 6 of these games with David Hayter in them before, and then suddenly it's just like, bah.
Yeah, but it's sometimes it's not an issue. Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure I've seen instances where voices have changed drastically, and it hasn't bothered. Like, it may be a bother like immediately, but then I'll get over it and move on. But it's I haven't played this. I haven't played Borderlands 3, so I don't know.
You can have my copy. I'm done with it.
Oh.
It's 14 hours of just work.
Jeff, my PS4 is broken.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, fair enough. Well, so yeah, we had that, but that's not the only Borderlands news. That's not the only Gearbox news we have.
Of course it's not.
We also there was a whole saga. This is what went back to when we found out about the USB key with the underage porn at the Medieval Times restaurant, Randy Pitchford, where Randy Pitchford and his lawyer, who was also I actually went and read a Business Week article on this. Turns out that their lawyer was like a childhood friend of his, that when he made the company, they came on to be the lawyer, and then eventually Randy started doing crazy shit, and the lawyer wanted to get the fuck out of there, but he wouldn't let him go, and there was all these weird financial ties, and so eventually he sued him, and then they countersued. Well, that's over. So last week they came to they basically came to an agreement. It's all under NDA. We don't have any details on it. But I don't know. When they went to go do this in trial, there was like, I'm going to make explosive revelations about Randy Pitchford. And I'm like, ooh, yes. Tell me more crazy stories about Randy Pitchford. I want to know more dumb things that Randy Pitchford did, because I don't have any other story about the video game industry with as much specific detail as that dumb Medieval Times story. And Randy Pitchford seems like the kind of guy that would do dumb shit. So, but in any case, that lawsuit is done.
That's good.
But there's a new lawsuit.
Oh.
And this isn't specifically Borderlands related, but Gearbox put out Duke Nukem 3D, the 20th anniversary edition in 2016, I believe.
Yes.
So, Bobby Prince was the composer for the music in Duke Nukem 3D.
Okay.
Or some of the tracks in Duke Nukem 3D. And his agreement with Apogee in 3D Realms was that he basically got $1 for every copy of Duke Nukem 3D that sold.
Oh,
right?
okay, yeah.
So Gearbox acquired the publishing rights for Duke Nukem when they did Duke Nukem Forever.
I'm assuming they never paid him.
Yes. In fact, they put the game out. He got in touch with them a whole bunch of times and was like, I still have an agreement that says that every copy of Duke Nukem 3D that gets sold, I get $1 from, right? Like, this is the deal. Just because the license transferred hands, you still have to renegotiate with me about how I get paid. So apparently he contacted Gearbox several times to try to resolve this and figure out a way for everybody to be equitable, and they ignored him, which kind of goes back to my previous, I don't believe you when you say that the reason we can't have this voice actor is because Texas law, we can't break Texas law. It's like, it seems to me to just be a thing where you're kind of chintzing out and you just don't want to pay the people that deserve to get paid. So he's taking him to court.
Huh.
So there's now a lawsuit between Bobby Prince and Gearbox, basically, and not just Gearbox, but also Steam.
Oh.
Because Mr. Prince emailed Valve and said, you're selling this game. This game is not like, I have to get paid in order for this game to get sold. You need to take this down off of Steam because you're breaking the law. Like, I have a say in the publishing of this game, and Steam ignored him, and Gearbox ignored him. So he's suing them both now.
Wow.
Which, nothing new, but again, they're just so shady, man. Gearbox they're so goddamn shady. They can't just pay the guy the $1. Just give him the $1. How many copies of Duke Nukem 3D Remastered do you think even sold? What, like a few hundred?
Probably a lot.
I don't know. In any case, well, I tell you what. I got one more thing left to say about Borderlands 3, and it's not bad news. Well, I guess it kind of depends on your point of view. I think it's good news. But apparently, Borderlands 3 is... The original Borderlands came out on October 20th of 2009, and that means that this month it's the 20th anniversary of Borderlands, the original Borderlands coming out. And as such, Gearbox is basically launching a bunch of Borderlands 3 events. The first one started last week, and basically it's called Boss Week, and it goes until October 8th. And it basically has raised the drop rate on all of the bosses for the legendary equipment. So if you're still playing Borderlands 3, and I just don't know why anybody would keep playing Borderlands 3 after you beat it. That's the thing I think that kind of always baffles me, because I was only playing Borderlands 3 to see what happened with the story.
Yeah.
And so when you get to the end and it's like, no, I want to play it on the super hard mode and get the best loot in the game. And it's like, but why? What are you going to use that loot on? I don't know. It's never made as much sense to me because, I don't know. I'm there for the story. In any case, there's going to be some other stuff. Rare Spawn Hunt, Show Me the Iridium on week 3, Mayhem on Twitch week 4. They've got their Halloween event coming out. So, if you bought Borderlands and you're still playing Borderlands and you like Borderlands, apparently there's going to be quite a bit of Borderlands content for you.
Oh, that's good.
Do you want to play Borderlands?
Yeah. I mean, eventually I do, but, I'd like to.
You got other stuff to do.
I got other stuff I got to get fixed, Jeff.
Yep. No, I got it. You got a 100% Untitled Goose game first.
I already did that.
Oh, okay. Did you even do the one where it's like there's a timed?
No.
You got to do the whole game or whatever before the bell rings thing?
No, I didn't do that.
Okay.
But I do still got to play Control, and, plus WWE 2K20's coming out.
You haven't beaten Control yet?
No.
Motherfucker, you don't have a sequential that makes you forced to wait months at a time to play Control. I want to play Control so bad.
Plus, my PS4 is broken.
That's true.
So I haven't been able to play Control in a week.
You just buy it on the Xbox One.
I'm not going to buy it again, Jeff.
Start over on the Xbox One. No?
No.
You're not going to buy it again? Okay. Well, I'll tell you what you could buy. That's Assassin's Creed Odyssey, because they're having a big old event as well, 1 year anniversary of Assassin's Creed Odyssey, where you can get like a big unicorn Pegasus.
Nice.
And a bunch of other stuff. There's all kinds of drops and bosses. We're actually hitting, I don't know what it is about. Apparently Halloween is when we're going to be getting a whole bunch of new events happening in games. Like,
yeah. It's a holiday event.
Yeah, but I mean, this isn't. It's just an anniversary event in any case. Yeah. So
Assassin's Creed is really one of those weird franchises that started out as one of my favorite game franchises and quickly went into I don't care.
Yeah. Well, I kind of feel that way with all Ubisoft games these days. Like, the only one I'm excited about, going back to E3, the only one I'm excited about is Watch Dogs Legion. Like, everything else is kind of like, I mean, meh.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Well,
if I actually knew what Beyond Good and Evil 2 was, I'd probably be excited for that.
Get like an honest to God stage demo. Well, maybe the reason for that is because of all of the loot boxes that they have in the Ubisoft games. Because last week we had it was basically they say that they're going to be putting loot boxes into Trials Rising.
Of course
they are. But there was a whole Reddit Q&A thing, and there was a quote from somebody who said, "What the hell website? What are you doing?" This website just covered up the part that I was looking to read. He basically said, I appreciate why players feel the way they do about loot boxes. Not a huge fan of myself. However, as was pointed out, you can always just not buy them. If players simply didn't buy these crates, they would not be added into games in the future. He concluded, adding, loot crates, cosmetic items in general have been a huge boon for the gaming industry, being a driving factor in the increased popularity of gaming over the last decade or so. They aren't a bad thing if done right. Do you think that Ubisoft does loot stuff right? I always feel like it's...
I stopped paying attention.
Yeah.
I don't buy them, so...
Yeah.
If I see that there's a loot box section of a game now, I just ignore that section.
Okay.
And just play the game.
I guess it's weird because I feel like when I think about a lot of the current Ubisoft games, I feel like they've all become a lot grindier. They've all got that, like... I don't know, like bad Diablo RNG thing going on.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, it's just like Borderlands, right? Where it's like, oh, you got to go. Like, I was having trouble beating a boss in Borderlands, and I looked online. It was like, yeah, just go find this one boss and beat him over and over again until you get the right drop that you're looking for. And I did it like 4 times. I didn't get anything. And I was just like, what am I doing? I don't want to do this. This is fucking terrible. Like, I don't want to just play this. But like the Division and Wildlands, and it feels like. I feel like their design has been co-opted into this thing where it's just, do this raid, get this loot, like an MMO.
Yeah.
As opposed to like a third-person action game.
I mean, that's what all these games are now, is just MMOs.
Yeah.
That you don't pay a monthly subscription for. And then, they co-opt that payment by having loot boxes.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just a shame. Like, I actually kind of liked, what was it, Ghost Recon 3, like Future Warrior or something like that. I actually played some of the old Ghost Recon games and they were pretty good. But speaking of Ghost Recon, Ubisoft did get a little bit of pushback this week because the Ubisoft the Ghost Recon launched with their like $100 version on Tuesday, where you get early access to it. In addition to everything else, and players were a little miffed by the fact that they paid $100 and then the game was just as full as humanly possible of microtransactions, including the time savers, right?
Yeah.
So like XP boosts or just like buy skill points to fill out trees. I mean, already we knew it was going to have weapons and armor and cosmetics and attachments and all, and then blueprints and all that bullshit. But they also had all these like time savers in there. Now, apparently they pulled back. They pulled the time saver parts out. And the whole rationale for having them in the first place was like, well, what if you buy Ghost Recon Breakpoint at the beginning of the Season 2 Battle Pass and you need to get caught up to where your friends are, then maybe you just put a bunch of money into the store and then you can just buy all the experience points that you need to get caught up. And I don't know. The whole thing is just It's exhausting.
Yeah, that sounds like they're trying to make people buy them
Yeah.
so that they can continue to sell them.
Right.
Because if people didn't buy them, they wouldn't be in the game. But if we make the game where they have to buy them, then it's a loop that we can never get dinged for.
Yeah. It would be one thing if Ubisoft games were just like perfectly fine and didn't feel grindy without the stuff, but I don't know. Anyway, let's stop talking about a game that I don't like and start talking about a game that I do like. Hitman 2 put out their October roadmap.
Nice.
There is some kind of Halloween event. They will not say. They've got all these. There's an escalation contract coming October 22nd. The screenshots of this is like a spooky graveyard, and I can't tell where it is because they're shooting it in silhouette with a lot of skyboxes.
I'm sure that's on purpose.
Yeah, and then it's got 2 unlocks, and they haven't even said what they are yet. And I'm like, ooh, I want to know. In addition, they're putting out a bunch of escalations all months, and they're bringing back 3 of the Legacy Challenge packs that are pretty cool, that are all kind of like horror themed.
Nice.
So I'm really.
You love Hitman.
I know. Everybody knows I love Hitman, but like, I bought Hitman 2 one time, and they just keep rolling out content for it. Like, last week there was the Haven Island level, and the sniper level is okay the week before that, but the season pass I feel like was a great value, and then just like escalations and seasonal events and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And and you know what? I actually was reading a thread on our Hitman that was like, Hitman could very well have put a lot of these cosmetics and like the tools and stuff into loot boxes, into a real world money store, into a thing where, if you get a certain number of points, you get currency, and then you have to use that currency, but you can also buy that currency. None of that shit, man. You buy Hitman 2 one time, and you just get all this content. And it's one of the reasons I love it. Love it. Love it. I just want them to announce Hitman 3 so I could get all crazy about that too.
Well, we definitely know they're going to at some point.
Yeah.
Because they talked about it in a documentary.
Yeah. Anyway, we got some more Halloween-themed stuff going on. So Apex Legends is doing a Halloween event that's kind of got leaked a little bit. It seems like they're doing something that's actually kind of interesting, though, because they've got this event where basically everybody drops normal, right?
Yeah.
But then when you die, you get put into the quote-unquote Shadow Squad, which are like, I think they're like undead versions of the characters who can only melee, but they have more health and they're faster. And then once the Battle Royale whittles down to the last 10 people, everybody who's been killed gets unleashed onto the map to chase them down and try to kill them. And the 10 people's job then is to like evac out of the map instead of just picking who's the winner at that point.
Okay, that sounds fun.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I've actually been, I don't play Apex Legends as much anymore, but it just shows a little bit more, I don't know, just a little bit more creativeness than some of the other stuff that we've seen.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's going to be coming out, and it looks pretty cool. Speaking of Battle Royale, Epic has been having a difficult time with Fortnite. So last week we talked about, I don't know if you know this, but apparently they're putting bots into Fortnite.
Okay.
Which is, and not only that, but they're doing this new kind of skill matching system to try to get people playing with other people of the same skill level, so that you're not just dumped into, so that you aren't playing ninja, right? It's like,
but what if I want to play ninja?
Well, you got to get good, noob.
Okay.
But apparently, one of the problems that they've been having is that this has also come with some testing that's been done with crossplay. And so that crossplay then is being like, if you're really good at the cell phone version of Fortnite, you might get matched up with people that are very good at the PC version of Fortnite.
Ah, I see where the problem lies.
Yeah, or like people who are really good at the cell phone version, talking about how like even just in a match with a mediocre PC player, that person has like a higher frame rate, a steadier connection, and a mouse and a keyboard, allowing them to kill faster and easier. So last week they put out a kind of just lip service like, we're going to work on it announcement for it. But apparently I don't know. I mean, I feel like every 2 weeks there's a story that's like, here's what the Fortnite community is all mad about this week.
And Epic says we're doing it anyway.
Yep. Well, yeah. So I don't know.
I've heard that before.
That seems like a pretty big. That does seem like a pretty big oversight, right? Like, how the hell could you put up? I mean, I'm still thinking about Modern Warfare's doing crossplay, and they said that they're doing it by matchmaking specifically based on what your control input is. Like, if you're using a controller, you can fight other controller people. If you're using mouse and keyboard, you can fight other mouse and keyboard people. And that seems like a better solution than this.
Yeah.
However, they also talked about the bots. They talked about having like a full bot matches where you can kind of just play PV or like just against the computer, like in a whole map full of bots, just to hone your skills and get warmed up before you start playing. None of this is going to bring me back to Fortnite. Actually, I was never in Fortnite in the first place.
Yeah, I was never into Fortnite in the first place.
So, like, I might be willing to play the Halloween event for Apex Legends, but I don't think I'm going to be willing to do that. I'm also not going to be willing to go back to PUBG, but PUBG apparently also now is going to be integrated into having PS4, Xbox One crossplay. They are not going to be bringing in the PC right now, I think probably because of the exact reasons that we were just talking about with the Epic, where... You know, I still don't know how it works when somebody who's really good at mouse and keyboard and somebody who's really good at playing with a controller, if these two things at all map onto each other, or if the person using the controller is just always going to have a disadvantage because of the lack of fine controller input.
I know that's always been the thing, is that if you are using mouse and keyboard, you have a little bit more fine pixel control.
Yeah.
Than a controller.
Also, in the Epic one, they brought up just frame rate. Right? Yeah. Is it just like 60 frames per second lets you aim and fire a little bit smoother than 30, and so you may have an advantage there as well.
Yeah.
So John and Kenny listeners might have noticed that it seems like everything is getting crossplay, even though we didn't hear any like big announcements. And apparently that's because Sony has brought their whole. They were working on crossplay, and it's out of beta now, and apparently it's available to pretty much any developer that wants to do it. So
okay,
I don't know if it was just pressure from Epic or if it was the people that were complaining. There was there was that story like 8 or 9 months ago about Rocket League and how people wanted to have crossplay between the Xbox and the PS4.
Well, it was the fact that it did have crossplay for all of like 12 hours.
Oh,
and then someone switched it off, and it turned out it was an accident.
Right. And then Sony's response was all just like, well, we can't have that. Well, they also had the Fortnite thing, right? Where they're like, if you're playing on the PS4, that it would literally lock your account out of like the PC and the Switch version.
Yeah, well, it was just funny because I remember the Rocket League thing, because prior to that, Sony was like, well, there's just two incompatible networks. We can't cross over with the Xbox. It's just not feasibly possible. And then the Rocket League thing happened, and then people asked me, I was like, oh no, it's just a Switch. We can turn it on and off at any time, but Sony doesn't want us to turn it on, so we don't.
Yeah.
And then so I was like, well, there's reasons. Yeah, I know we said previously that it's not possible, and this totally revealed that it is totally 100% possible, even though we said it wasn't. Look over there.
Yeah. Actually, now that I think about it, it's probably a combination of both PUBG and then the new Modern Warfare wanting to do it, because those are 800-pound gorillas.
Fortnite,
right?
PUBG, and the new Modern Warfare. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah, apparently we're going to see more and more of that. I don't really play very much online anymore, so
yeah, I don't. I never really played online multiplayers.
Yeah, it was never really a thing that affected me, but I know that a lot of people wanted it. I guess Overwatch will probably be next up on the list, right? Of being able to go between, with the Switch version incoming and the PS4 and the Xbox One and the PC.
Yeah,
it'd be nice to be able to see all that.
Is the Switch version not out yet?
I don't believe so. I think it comes out a little later this month. I was looking at release dates, but yeah, I think it's out a little later this month. Well, speaking of Sony and all the PlayStation 4 stuff, Sony has a new thing with PlayStation Now. So people with a long memory or who have forgotten to cancel their trial accounts, like myself, may remember that PlayStation Now was the weird Gaikai streaming PS3 backwards compatibility thing that Sony had that never worked very well. and was basically their answer to backwards compatibility. But then as time went on, they started putting PS4 games on it. And then there was an announcement probably about 6 months ago where, like, if there's a PS4 game on PlayStation Now, you can download it to your console. So you didn't have to play it streaming. Well, apparently Sony is revamping PS Now, and it seems like they might be trying to go after that Game Pass market, which is good because I love Game Pass. And if Sony has to fight Xbox for my Game Pass love, I hope they do. So first things first, they dropped the price.
Which was the biggest problem.
Yeah.
Because wasn't it like $30 a month or something like that?
$20 a month.
Okay.
They cut it in half, so it's $10 a month, which is a lot better. And then they also added Grand Theft Auto 5, God of War, Infamous Second Son, and Uncharted 4 to the service. And the thing is, I feel like they still have a little bit of a marketing issue. You can download those, right? So if you buy the $10, spend the $10, and you get access to all of those games, and you can download them. You don't have to stream them. You can get the whole full game on your PlayStation, which is way better because the streaming was always a little
janky.
Yeah, it had a little bit of lag to it, and so it was like, I don't want this. Like, I don't want to play RE6 but with lag, you know.
But you could if you wanted to.
You could if you wanted to. So I really, really, really hope that this is Sony fighting Game Pass. I really hope. But the thing with Game Pass is that Game Pass has just been so good about getting third-party games and indie games and like stuff that's relatively new. So I really hope that Sony is aggressive about that. Because honestly, I've had my Xbox turned on a lot more than my PlayStation these days. I mean, I don't know. So I don't know. Hopefully that will be the thing. And this concludes this week's Rage Select won't stop saying how awesome Game Pass is segment. I'm sure it'll come up again later. But,
yeah, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah. Speaking of games that you can download for relatively low prices and sometimes even nothing, Destiny 2 came out on Steam this week.
No!
So it moved off of Battle Pass because Bungie went independent, right? So it was no longer not Battle Pass.
Battle.net.
Battle.net, yeah. Moved off of Battle.net and went free to play on Steam with the expansion of the Shadowkeep addition to the game. And apparently they had like 250,000 people playing all at the same time, 250,000 concurrent players on their launch. I don't know. I hope I hope things are. I've heard nothing but good stuff about that Shadowkeep expansion. I got it. I'm trying to find a place on Rage Select to put it because like this week has just been just insane with the number of things coming out, just Ghostbusters and all the different stuff. But I hope that Bungie manages to do well.
Yeah,
because I always got the feeling that some of the monetization stuff that they were doing was more Activision than Bungie.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I mean, if you've been itching to play Destiny 2, it's free to play on everything now. You can just download it.
Wow.
All the consoles, all everything. They actually have, I think it's like $35 for the expansion and $60 for all the previous expansions, but the base download game is now 100% free for everybody to play. I don't know. I haven't like dug into it yet, so I don't know how much. They had that weird, the Engram shop, so the cosmetic stuff that you could buy.
Yeah.
But I don't think there was ever like honest to God loot crates or that you could like buy. No, that's not true. They had a premium currency that you could use to buy guns that were better than the ones that you had. But still, I don't know. Any interest, John? Come back to Destiny? You want to come back to Destiny?
No. I never was in Destiny.
No?
There's no coming back to it. I was never in it.
You want to come to Destiny for the first time?
No.
You get it for free?
Good, no.
Peter Dinklage is gone?
Well, then why would I care?
See, there you go. There's a voice actor that you cared when they swapped him out. You're like,
if I don't have Peter Dinklage telling me that wizard's from the moon, then why would I play this game?
What kind of stupid game is this? No, Peter Dinklage. All games need Peter Dinklage. Well, maybe Peter Dinklage will come back for whatever Bungie's next game is going to be because they're talking about. They were in an interview where they were talking about how they want to have they want to make more franchises that are not just Destiny. They don't want to just be a one-game company. And I don't know, given what seems to be a pretty good track record, it seems like if they use Destiny to keep bringing in money, that they can then have time to develop something different. I would like to see Destiny. I would like to see Bungie do another like single player focused narrative game as opposed to
you poor child.
Marathon. I want Marathon 3. Come on, guys.
Do they own the rights to that, or does Microsoft now own it?
I don't know. Did Microsoft? They put that on the Xbox, right?
Yeah.
Did some kind of like re-release.
Yeah, they did like a remaster of Marathon.
I have no idea.
Back when they were still owned by, when Bungie was still owned by.
What was that? Didn't they make like an RTS, like a 3D RTS that was like super brutal? Had like a bunch of like
I don't
dwarves and stuff in it. I don't remember. Anyway. Let's go back briefly and talk about Rocket League.
Hey!
Because we got some information on the loot box situation. They've taken loot boxes out of Rocket League and replacing them with blueprints. So when you win matches, basically the change results in there's no longer a blind box component to it. You can see what you're getting. So you get blueprints for a specific item in the game from winning a match, and then you have to go online to buy the currency to unlock those blueprints. So there's still, you can't do it all with in-game currency. You do have to pay for them, but this is them trying to get away from the whole idea that it's like it's gambling because you know what you're doing. You know what you're buying.
Okay.
I don't know. Would you think that this is a better solution than loot box?
I honestly don't know.
Okay.
I don't play Rocket League, so
I'm just trying to think of an analog for a game. Because like there's Overwatch loot boxes, but you don't have to buy those. Oh well. Speaking of Overwatch, we had a story last week where apparently, what's his name, Jeff Kaplan said to Nintendo, "Hey, if you want any of these Overwatch characters in Smash Brothers, you can take whichever one you want. We don't give a fuck. We love all of them, and you can have any of them you want. You can put them in Smash Brothers, and we don't care. You do you."
Yeah, that sounds like Kaplan.
Yeah. He did say that he would prefer, if he had his choice, he would pick Tracer because Tracer's like the mascot.
Yeah, she's the mascot. She's the flagship character. Yeah.
What character from Overwatch would you like in Smash Bros?
I mean, I agree. Tracer was the first thought I had, but I would totally be down for if I could get an extra character, like like either like a I'd either go Pharah or Junkrat. Okay. Maybe even a Roadhog.
Okay. I think Wrecking Ball would be great just because there's so many easy solutions to things you could do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Hopefully, maybe. I don't know. I always feel like the characters that people want in Smash Brothers to me are all over the board. It's like everybody just wants their favorite video game character to be in Smash
They all
Brothers.
want the Goose from the Untitled Goose game.
There you go. Put the Goose in. Turn the Goose loose. Well, speaking of games that people are excited about, Death Stranding.
Hey.
Kojima came out and said that the baby from Death Stranding will talk to you through the controller, or not talk to you, but make noises through the controller.
Yes.
Now, whether that is, he was specifically talking about the controller from the pre-order. There was something in his statement that made it seem like it might only be for the controller from the Death Stranding branded PS4.
I might have to buy a new PS4.
There you go. Death Stranding PS4. There you go, John. Yellow Bridge Baby controller.
Yeah,
Get the handprints on there. Probably this is going to be for all the controllers, right?
Yeah, I would assume it's the voice, the normal voice thing in all the controllers.
Yeah. So just another thing that I have to turn off in a menu before I start playing a game because I hate it when my controller tries to talk to me. All right, let's talk about some trailers because we also got a Death Stranding like a promo trailer, like a 1-minute promo trailer that actually is not gameplay at all. It's just kind of a moody render. Sam's getting, the guys are chasing him. He's falling down. He's got cargo. I don't know. It's weird how I feel like post TGS, you can't tell me anything about Death Stranding anymore because I already know everything. Or at least I know they're not going to make a promo trailer for this game that shows what the third act of the game looks like and spoil the surprise. There is a kind of a big thing at the end with a kind of a giant figure in the distance, which does bring up some interesting questions, but I won't let you see that, John.
Cool.
Because you don't want to see it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, though, you do want to see
I've already seen.
You've already seen the T800. We got some gameplay of the fake Arnold in
horrible fucking voice actor.
That's what Michael was saying.
But I will say I love the fact that he pulls out the gun from a box of Johnny Cage action figures.
Yeah, like from Terminator 2.
Yeah. Well, it's a box of roses in Terminator 2, but there it's just Johnny Cage action figures. Like I love that.
So it's interesting because the way that he fights, I mean, it just seems like it's very stiff, right?
Yeah.
Which would make sense. A lot of just kind of like big hit moves. I think the big...
It looks like he has a comeback, like a death, like Jason had.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's what I was going to say, is that at one point we do see him getting torched by Scorpion and then turning into the actual chassis, the T800 chassis, which is pretty cool. There's he appears to have some teleport moves. I like the fact that apparently the X-ray,
they've always been good about that stuff. Is that the X-ray actually shows his exoskeleton?
Yeah, instead of regular skeleton. It would seem stupid if that was the case. Yeah, there's some stuff in here. I know Michael was talking about how he thought that like all the weird purple energy grenades were a little off-brand, but I don't know. You got to give the guy. You got to give your characters like ways to do long range attacks and different like change ups and stuff. But
also, he stepped on a guy's nuts and crushed him.
Yep. Was that a thing? Oh yeah, I guess in the movie, grabbed the biker guy at that one part. So this is like, doesn't what's her face? Who's the bug lady?
Oh, Devora?
Doesn't she have a thing like that where one of her variants she turns into like a bug for?
Yeah, like a baby will come out.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't bought the Mortal Kombat 11 season pass yet, just because I thought I bought it when I bought the game, but then I haven't got anything from it.
I did. So I haven't played it yet, but I am kind of excited.
Okay, because this is out already, right?
Yeah. This came out this past week.
Okay, and the fatality that sends them into the war in the future is pretty good too. So I don't know. I've been nothing but happy with NetherRealm over the last few years. Yeah. So I'm happy with that. Who's left? It's like Nightwolf, Sindel, and Spawn?
If you actually forward the video you're watching just a little bit, there.
Okay, because we already got
Nightwolf, we already got Shang Tsung, and then we just got Terminator. So next is Sindel, then Joker, then Spawn.
Okay. But as I think I looked up the actual dates for these, I don't think Spawn comes out to like March of next year. Or something like that. Like, it's a ways.
But I also like the fact that there's also like skins, like character skins that come out with each release of each character, that if you have the season pass, you do get those skins. And
like for the other characters in the game.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. Like if I remember correctly, in one of the videos I saw, there's a Cassie Cage one in which she looks like Harley Quinn.
Oh,
and I think that might be coming out with the Joker one.
Huh.
Or it's a Halloween pack or something.
That's weird.
And it's actually called Cassie Quinn.
Okay. They got all those assets hanging around from Injustice 2, right?
Yeah.
Might as well use them. Okay, well, speaking of Robot Insanity, we also got the P1000 trailer for Fortnite. This is not very much, but it's kind of an Iron Man ripoff, right? Of the first Iron Man.
Yeah.
Coming out of the cave, except that it's the banana smoothie guy from Fortnite. It's weird. I love everything about Fortnite except actually playing Fortnite. Like every part of Fortnite that is not actually playing the game, I kind of tend to dig.
Yeah.
I dig 100% though of My Hero Academia, and we got a trailer for My Hero One's Justice 2, which appears to be just another arena fighter. But
yeah, I mean, of course, the sequel to the game would be the same gameplay style.
Yeah,
with maybe some few additions.
Yeah, and it appears it's going to cover the upcoming season and then the stuff that wasn't covered in the last season. Which I don't know. I kind of liked it better the way that Attack on Titan did that as like a DLC for Attack on Titan 2. There's like a $30 DLC that just covered what was coming out in the anime.
No,
I don't know about just like having a whole other $60 game. Of course, a lot of times though, if I'm not mistaken, I feel like a lot of times when we play games like this, that every time they release a new one, it's like all of the first game and then also all the new stuff as well. So I don't know. I mean, this was the only arena fighter that I really liked. And it was only because I like My Hero Academia so much. So, we also got a launch trailer for Tom Clancy's Breakpoint, Ghost Recon, Splinter Cell, not Splinter Cell. I still want to play. I still have yet to play this game. I kind of feel like I need to find a correspondent, John. I need to find like a Destiny, Ghost Recon, The Division correspondent for Rage Select. Somebody that gets like really excited about these online looter shooter games, because I don't know, like this just looks, it's just very generic. I mean, it's just, I don't know, just running around doing stuff. There's the Terminator.
Yeah, I mean, I only really know one guy who's one friend who's like really excited for these types of games, but he moved away from Austin. So
damn it. I don't know. He'll just start Skyping people in.
He actually works for. He's the community manager for NASCAR Heat.
Oh,
now.
Wow! All right,
and had to move to Tennessee for it. So
okay. Also, the Call of Duty Mobile came out. So if you want to play Call of Duty on your phone, there's now free to play Call of Duty on your phone.
Yay!
Well, again, I think we need to find that correspondent, John. Right? They could be the Call of Duty mobile player for us, because I can't. I feel like I'm the most excited person on Rage Select for Call of Duty, and that's saying something, because I'm just like, I don't know, single player, sure, sounds all right. I mean, I'm kind of surprised there wasn't already something on the Call of Duty phone game, considering the rest of them.
Good point.
Yeah. Anyway, that's out now. Let's wrap it up here with a few more stories. Apparently, we talking about Untitled Goose Game. Apparently, it's going to maybe be coming on to the PlayStation, the Xbox, maybe even the PC pretty soon. Everybody loves that.
It's already on PC.
Or no, yeah, sorry, not
PC and Switch.
Yeah, PlayStation and Xbox. Everybody loves that Goose Game. They want to put it out on multiple platforms.
Yeah, get it out to as many platforms as possible.
I did not see this one coming. I just didn't see the level of rabid enjoyment.
Well, in all honesty, I think the game is simple.
Yeah,
and that's not an insult, because it's simple to play. It's, you pick up the controller, anyone can grasp it.
Yes,
like regardless of your level of gamer, anyone can grasp it.
Yeah,
and you can either just run around being a dick, or you could do the to-do list stuff,
right?
And then actually complete the story of what's going on. And there's stuff you can do that's comedic, and there's, like I said, everyone understands geese are dicks, and you get to be a geese being a dick to everybody.
It's also, I feel like it's also really well tuned, right? In that, like, the puzzles are not super difficult to figure out.
Yeah.
Like, I had problems with maybe like one in each area, but not that big of trouble with any of them.
Well, it's like there was a couple that required me to get an item from one area to another area.
Yeah.
And I couldn't figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
So, for a long time, it was a lot of running into a brick wall and like just power forcing the game to.
I think my big thing was that I fell off of a bridge into the river.
Oh, okay.
And apparently there were all these switchbacks that I hadn't been unlocking.
Yeah.
So like I was going down this river and just all of the switchbacks were locked. So I just had to go all the way back to the beginning of the game and then run through the first 3 or 4 levels to get. It was in the bar level, because there's a place on that bridge where you can fall off, and if you haven't unlocked all the gates going, and I was like, all right. But you can run from one side of that game to the other in a minute. I mean, that's 60 seconds.
That's the whole point of the last mission.
Yeah.
Spoilers. But it's so simple, and like I said, it's tuned towards comedy, but it's also really in depth, because if you're a hardcore gamer, you're looking at it and you can figure out like how to do, like just doing things to get a reaction is funny.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
To get reaction from the characters in the game.
100%. When I got to that bar level, I think I ran around with the harmonica. Goose harmonicaing for, and then people would chase me, and I was just like, no, old man, give me back the harmonica.
I really want to record a video of the garden, the gardener and everything, with me grabbing the Goose grabbing the radio, and the radio playing, and the gardener coming and taking it away and turning it off and then taking it back, and just have the radio blaring ska. And be like, that's me in the gardener society. Love of ska.
So yeah, you could play Untitled. You may be able to play Untitled Goose Game pretty soon. You will be able to play Return of the Obra Dinn.
Nice.
Pretty soon. October 18th, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch are all getting Obra Dinn. Obra Dinn is amazing if you're into quiet, weird games. Michael and I did a video for it a while back. It's a really weird, fun game, and I think a lot of people would enjoy it. So.
I don't know why. I thought it was on the Xbox already.
Nope.
Weird.
Nope. And let's see, Persona 4 is, or Persona 5 Royal Edition is coming to the United States, and we finally got a kind of release date, probably March 2020.
Nice.
We're going to be seeing that. And last but not least, just for fun, over the weekend, some folks in Red Dead Redemption 2 Online, because there's nothing to do in Red Dead Redemption 2 Online. Basically, a bunch of people all got stew and tried to carry the stew from one side of the map to the other side of the map with stew. And they had to walk. So it's basically, there's a whole video online of just a bunch of people walking, and they all have a bowl of stew.
And then there's some people that seem like they're protecting to protect the group if griefers come.
Yes, not even griefers, but just like animals or like bandits or whatever.
Yeah.
Like there's things. Spoiler alert: they do not make it. But there's some nice. Because of the cinematic camera in Red Dead Redemption 2, there's some really nice kind of sequences of just seeing a whole bunch of people walking around, each one of them holding a plate of stew in Red Dead Redemption 2. I think this is also, at least to me, kind of a testament as to why I don't play Red Dead Redemption 2, because if all there is to do is walk around with a bowl of stew, that's not a game I want to play. Now, if you were a goose trying to get that stew, that's a whole other thing. I pay you $60 right now. Anyway, yeah. And with that, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to answer some questions. So everybody stick around. We'll see you in a minute. And it's time. Well, you know what? I was going to say we could do a review for Untitled Goose Game, but I feel like we already did that in part 1. Yeah. Everybody's just like, Untitled Goose Game. It's great.
Yeah, I loved it.
Go play it. Be an asshole goose.
Yeah. I like that there's actually a story with the game.
I feel we need to put some quotey fingers around that.
It's quotey finger, but I also really like if you think about it, the implications of that story.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Of what that means, and I think it's kind of hilarious as well.
Yep. You have to read all the item descriptions though if you really want to find out.
Yeah.
What's going on.
Of course.
No. Yeah, go play Untitled Goose Game. It's great. Borderlands 3. I don't know. I beat that. I could talk about that, but it's just kind of
before
Borderlands.
My PS4 died, I was playing a lot of Greedfall.
How was that?
Better than I expected. Not as good as I had hoped.
Okay, fair enough.
Which, because it's a game by Spiders, and Spiders always falls well below what I expect.
Yeah.
Like I would hope and expect at the same level, and somehow Spiders would make a game that somehow falls below both of those expectations.
Yeah.
And this game is actually better than what I was expecting. But everyone was kind of hoping like a new Dragon Age or a new Skyrim style game.
Sure.
And because that's kind of how it was being marketed. Like that style
very
of
epic
role playing, and I was like, it's not quite on those levels, but
it's like they always make interesting games. They need like some polish. They need more polish than they end up.
And
having.
I will say this is probably the most polished game they've had.
Yes, yeah.
Greedfall is probably the most polished game that they've made, and it's funny because I started playing it, and I was like, I don't know how long I want to play this, and then I just kept playing it. And then, even Amanda was like, you're still playing this game. I thought you didn't know how long you're going to play. I was like, yeah. Every time I'm about to quit, a new story beat happens. And I'm like, well, now I got to know where this goes.
Yeah.
But it does have the biggest irritation I have is it has those quests where it's literally go to this city, talk to this one person, then go to this other city, talk to this one person. And then go back to that first city, talk to that person again, then go back to the second city, and talk to that person again. Like literally, it's just going back and forth. And yes, it has a quick travel system.
Okay, I was about to ask that.
But it's literally a loading screen each time to do. It's like I'm spending 5 seconds to do something, loading screen.
Right.
5 seconds to do something, loading screen. And it's like there's a lot of those side quests that do that.
Yeah.
And it's a little annoying.
I could see that.
Which those are the things that make me want to be like, I think I'm going to stop playing this game. And then like some actual story beat happens and I'm like, fuck, what? I need to know more.
It does seem like the sort of game that would be like if it was on Game Pass or if it was on a PlayStation Plus or if it was like $20. I don't know. I don't know if it merits a full $60 purchase.
Yeah, I rented it, so you know.
Yeah. Anyway, mailraceset.com is the email address, and actually, what you were just talking about may tie into our very first question.
Oh, okay.
So Seymour writes in and says, Dear Jeff and John,
hi.
I have finished dozens of games, but there are probably hundreds that I've started and never finished. Lately, I've been thinking of getting a new game, but I had difficulties finding something that grabs my attention within the first 2 hours. So how much do you play before saying, okay, I've had enough of this? Do you have a specific rule of thumb for that kind of thing? Hashtag keep the rage alive. Cheers from a Seymour.
I don't think there's like one specific thing where I'm a rule like that's like every game gets that rule.
Yeah.
I think I play a game until it either A, bores me.
Yes.
Or B, does something that pisses me off, like in a way that, and I don't mean like pisses me off like story beat, oh, this story didn't go the way I thought it was going to be and I'm pissed off. But,
right.
But like, I can't get past a certain section because of a glitch, or I can't get past a certain boss fight because it's too fucking hard,
or like you lose like an hour of progress or something like that.
Yeah, or like I have a save file and I lose like 2 hours worth of progress, and it's just like, well, then why the fuck do I care?
Right.
You know, like that kind of stuff gets me to quit playing a game.
Okay.
Like I never beat Quantum Break because the final boss, or at least I assume it's the final boss mission.
Yeah.
Everything I've read said it was just like too fucking hard for me.
Mm-hmm.
Which I've heard other people be like, that's weird. I thought that boss fight was easy. It's like, I don't know. I thought it was a little OP.
Yeah.
Of a boss. But also maybe I just didn't figure out the trick for it.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there's a trick. But like, sometimes I just like won't beat a game because of a glitch, or sometimes I'll be playing a game and I'll be enjoying it, and then like another game will come out that I want to play a little bit more, that I've been waiting for a little bit longer.
Sure.
So I'll be like, I'm gonna play that real quick, and I'll start playing it, and I'll beat that game, and then I'll be like, all right, well now time to go back. You know what? I don't care.
Yeah.
You know, I'm already past it. Or like, oh, I'm playing this game. It's really great. Oh, this other game came out. Okay, cool. I'm gonna play this game, and then I'm gonna beat it. Oh, this other game came out. Oh, I gotta play it. Now I gotta find time to get back to that other game. Oh, but this other game came out.
Right.
All right, well, it's been a year since I played that game, and I'm not playing it from the beginning again, and I don't know where I was in it, so fuck it.
Yeah.
You know,
a lot of it for me has to do with how what are the single defining thing, and this is just such a dumb answer, but whatever, it's what it is like I know when a game is fun. Like when I'm playing a game and just like the hours are just gone. They're just ticking away, right? Like you're just playing a game and suddenly it's been 4 hours and you're just like, what the fuck happened, right?
Yeah.
That's how I know that I'm definitely going to keep playing that game. And when it comes back to other stuff, a lot of it is like, does your story have a good hook, right? I'm willing to deal with an hour or two worth of JRPG dumb bullshit spin up. If there's a good hook, then I want to see where it goes, and the thing keeps moving along. A lot of games, too, have a certain amount of momentum to them. Like in Borderlands 3, I think that I was just kind of like watching Netflix and playing it at the same time. And then I got to the point where I thought it was the last boss in the game, and I was like, well, I might as well just beat this boss. And then it turns out that there was like a whole other level after that, and that was just I got bored with it. But for the most part, I mean, I know when I'm going to be able to stick with the game because I feel really strongly about it, right?
Yeah.
Like it was funny because when you and I did the videos earlier, or we did them last week, but they came out this week for the Surge 2.
Yeah,
I've really been enjoying the Surge 2.
Yeah,
and I know that because I keep kind of going like, I just want to get a little further. I just want to get a little further. I'm going to stop in just a minute. I'm just going to get a little bit further. Yeah. And I've kind of hit a stalling point where I'm at what I think is close to the end of the game, but the final I don't know if it's the final boss, but it's like a late game boss is really difficult. And so I've, for the first time playing the game, had to kind of revert back to grinding. But then the actual combat engine in the game is so fun that I almost don't even mind grinding all that much, which is kind of good. Like that's, I mean, the reason I stopped playing the Surge one was the opposite, was I just felt like I wasn't making any forward progress no matter what I did. But, you know, games, I find it the hardest. I give up on a lot of games that are long because I get to about 8 hours into a game and then it's like, I'm just not having any fun with this. Like I'm playing this out of a sense of moral obligation, or like it started as interesting and I was like, let's see if it gets more interesting. And then it's like, nope, not interesting. But I can definitely see more. It's weird because I feel like right now there are a lot of games with the potential to have a really strong opening hook. Like Control, I think, has a very strong
Control's
opening.
fucking great.
Yeah. Untitled Goose Game is like 3 hours long, so like that's not a big thing. But
usually short games are like, you know what? Even if I'm in the middle of a long game, I'll stop to play the long game to play that short game real quick.
Yeah.
Like Man, I'm a Dan. I played that really quickly. I actually played it twice. And then Untitled Goose Game, I stopped playing Control and Greedfall to play Untitled Goose Game because I knew it would be short.
Right.
And so little things like that, I might stop, go back, and then hopefully like 6 other games don't come out that then prevent me to go back to those other games. But yeah.
I mean, the big problem right now is just that everything has gotten longer. All games seem like they're just. It seems like it used to be that the standard runtime for a game, and in the $60 era, was like 8 to 10 hours for like an action game, right? That Borderlands 2 was like 12 hours, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
I feel like my Borderlands 3 playthrough started edging up on the close to like 20 hours, like multiple sessions. Because the thing is, if a game is only 12 hours long, it's like that's 2 big monster game sessions, right? That's like 2 6-hour sessions.
Yeah.
Like I can start playing the game at 2 p.m. on a Saturday, still do something on Saturday night, and then come back and play the rest of it on Sunday. Whereas a game that's 20 hours, it's just, that's a little 10-hour gameplay sessions are just a little bit too long for me. So now you're talking about 4 5-hour sessions, and so it's just like, in this day and age when things are just coming out, here's another thing for this game, here's another thing for this game, here's some DLC for Hitman, here's a free Colonel Sanders game, here's a Goose game, here's a Terminator. Like, I don't know. Like, you got to really get my attention to make me keep playing a game for 20 hours, because that's the reason that I feel like I can't get into, or I don't want to even touch Greedfall, is because I played the opening of it. It just didn't seem like a strong enough hook to keep playing for. I'm sure that game is like 20 to 30 hours long,
probably, and
like I just can't imagine.
I also will say a lot of the twists in the game are like so fucking obvious from the very beginning. Like from the moment you actually once you get past the tutorial section, get on the island and start talking to characters, it's like, oh, I know every twist that's about to happen.
Well, I saw that shit in the first 15 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Am I the colonial mercenary? A bad guy? What? I don't even know if that's a thing, but like
it can be.
I mean, Gears, like I played all the way through Gears and I enjoy Gears 5 more.
I still really need to play that. I loaded it just so I could get the Batista skin.
Of course.
But I haven't actually played it yet.
Yeah, it was okay. I don't like the way they do checkpoints, is because it's got that whole online component.
Yeah.
It's got these very specific checkpoints, and apparently I was like, I didn't hit the one, and so it put me back like 4 hours in the big open world driving around. I was like, you know what? Whatever happened in that 10 minutes, I'm just going to skip it, because I don't want to go back and play 4 hours just to hit 10 minutes. But yeah, glitches are a big one. I mean, there are a lot of games where, if you lose a significant amount of progress, I'm just kind of like, nah, I'm not, I don't want to go back. I think that having to replay a game is really, that's one of the worst things that can happen. Grinding is also really bad. So yeah, I don't know. For me, it's just whether or not it hooks me. And like, when I was talking about Greedfall, I didn't want to I don't seem like I'm throwing shade at you for playing Greedfall or anything. Like, it was mostly just sometimes, like, I wouldn't expect to be playing the Surge 2 right now, because I didn't care for the first Surge.
I actually thought about it, and I seem to have this weird tendency to get to find games that are kind of mediocre like they're in the mediocre level.
Sure. They got something.
But they got something.
Something different.
And I just play them out of, well, I guess I can keep playing until something better comes along.
Right.
And it's just weird because, like, I'm trying to think of other games that I've done that with, and I know I've done it with other games.
Yeah.
That, you know, and some of them I've quit playing halfway through. Some of them I actually played all the way through. Like Dragon Age 2.
Mm-hmm.
I know everyone hated Dragon Age 2. I actually really liked it for what it was. Was it monotonous? Was it repetitive? Yes, but
sometimes that's fine.
I kind of liked it, and this game I feel like kind of might have some of those same like hooks that Dragon Age 2 had for me.
Sure,
just less repetitive and less.
Well, I know you also. I mean, like, how many times have we talked about like that? You like kind of weirdly obscure medium reviewed TV shows from the old days and stuff like that too. So I don't know. I mean, it makes plenty of sense to me that, you know, if something is interesting, you're just like, I want to see what it is. It's there's enough of it there that I want to see, and I don't mind some monotony when it comes to the thing. I've kind of got to a point now where my time is so limited that I kind of only want to play what's on the top of the list. But then again, there's just so many games out right now.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say. It's hard to say. So you gotta make up your own mind, Seymour. You gotta figure it out. Chris writes in specifically with a question for John.
Really?
That I've been saving for a few weeks.
Oh, hi.
Chris
Hi, Chris
writes in and says, Hey guys, this is Chris. Question for John, if he's on. How do you feel about The Fiend and all the extras on WWE 2K20? Thanks. And that's from Chris.
I fucking love The Fiend.
Okay. What is The Fiend?
So The Fiend is it's Bray Wyatt.
Okay.
It's kind of the supernatural wrestling persona of Bray Wyatt right now.
Okay.
So you have Bray Wyatt who's doing the Firefly Funhouse, and he's
the Mr. Rogers kind of guy.
Kind of a Mr. Rogers kind of thing, almost like a "Don't touch me, don't hug me, I'm scared" vibe to it. To these segments with there's puppets, and you know he's saying things, and they're a little off. Yeah, but it's done just well enough that it's like, ooh, this is good.
Yeah,
but you know he has another persona. Which is the Fiend, which is this almost Joker-looking clown face thing, and it's basically violent, it's vicious, and it like he literally has a finishing move now in which he you're looking at the Fiend.
It's kind of like Jeff the Killer meets the face-off Joker type of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I love the entire gimmick. I love everything about it. I think it's fucking great. I love both aspects of it. As far as him being the pre-order exclusive,
is that what that is about WWE 2K?
I think he's the pre-order exclusive. You get the Fiend.
Okay.
If you don't pre-order, I think you have to buy it.
Okay.
It'll be available later. So he's the pre-order exclusive, and then also the instead of doing character packs like they've done previously. Like previously they did, you know, you buy the season pass and you get like character packs, which is like, oh, it's these NXT stars that we didn't have in the game, or these superstars that were popular by the time the game came out but weren't in the company well enough for us to put them in the game when we were developing it.
Right on, yeah.
You know,
just
like
reacting to things that are happening.
Well, they're not doing that this year.
Oh, okay.
They've done away with that completely, and now the season pass, which I feel like is a little more expensive, but whatever.
Okay.
They're now doing like these themed packs where it's like the first one is centered around the Fiend, where they have like new skins for like they have an arena, which is like the Wyatt compound, and then they have like these zombified monstrous version, like character versions.
Okay.
And then and there's like these little showcase story modes where you can play as like this thing doing, a character doing something. And then they've also got more themes of this type where it'll be like almost like they went, you know what, WWE Immortals was really popular. Mm-hmm. That tablet game that I played a long time ago. They're like, oh, that was really popular. Why don't we just do those character types as DLC characters for this new game?
Okay.
Not specifically those characters, but those character types. You know what? They're trying something new. So I'm okay with it.
Well, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, from talking to you for years now, it seems like WWE has always had just like a shitload of paid DLC out there, that they've always been very monetized, right? That it's been, I think this says that there's going to be like, what, 4 $15 originals packs, which, and then there's also a season pass, and I don't know, but none of that seems like out of the ordinary from what you've described.
But the fact that they're not doing like new wrestlers, they're doing this kind of original character redesigns of existing wrestlers and things like that.
Okay,
and they're doing each of these packs comes with an arena and comes with some new versions of wrestlers, and then those versions of wrestlers. There's also like a showcase mode which just has a story attached to it. Okay, then they also have like some exclusive towers which are like the MK towers, where those have a story attached to them as well. I like it because at least they're trying something different. Is it the best thing the company's ever done? No,
but this is
the same company that literally releases as few updates to their games every year as possible.
But I remember you telling me, isn't this the last Ukes one though?
Ukes technically only partially worked on this.
Okay.
So this will be the last one that they had any hands on.
Okay.
But this game was pretty much fully developed by one of the 2K developers.
Okay.
One of the 2K teams. And like with help from Ukes as Ukes departed, which it's actually come out that Ukes is actually working on a game for AEW.
Oh wow! How does my life have so much wrestling news and drama in it, and I just don't watch any wrestling? Or
but yeah. So it's also rumored that AKI may be coming back to work with Ukes, which the big thing about that is AKI was responsible for some of the most beloved wrestling games in existence.
Okay.
Which were the N64 WWE, WWF No Mercy and WWF WrestleMania 2000 and WCW NWO Revenge and WCW World Tour. Like those games are considered like the pinnacle of all wrestling games because they're just really great control schemes and all that. And they were on the N64, and it was one of the reasons to own an N64.
Okay.
And people have always been like, we want those games back, those style of games back. And WWE has been like, well, here's these.
Yeah.
And so the rumor is that Ukes is working with AKI to make an AEW game. That's speculation and rumor. I haven't heard any. I know Ukes is apparently working with them.
Okay.
But that's all I know.
Huh.
But yeah. So as far as I think it's cool that they're trying something new.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to do something new. As far as the games go, I've kind of gotten to the point of I'm gonna buy the game when it comes out. Like it's already, I'm gonna buy it. Like
sure.
I've already.
You're so resigned to this.
I've resigned myself to that.
I guess you can have my $60.
And I enjoy it. And that's not to say I don't enjoy them, because I do. I did enjoy last year's. I did enjoy the year before that. Like I generally enjoy these games when I play them.
Yeah.
But I do I have my hesitations about the franchise? Yeah, I mean, we're like 2-3 weeks from the game coming out. They've shown little to no gameplay.
Yeah. Yeah, they had that live action trailer.
They had the live action trailer. They had apparently, I think today they might have come out with an actual gameplay trailer, but I haven't looked at it. But it was just like they've shown like a few entrances of people they were in last year's game, and they don't look much different than last year's game. And then it's weird just how little they've shown and how soon the game comes out.
Yeah.
And they're doing this weird, like, each week we're going to make a new announcement about something and show you something that's in the game. And then when they show it, it's like literally little to no information. It's like the most bare bones and littlest information they can possibly give about the game, which is just weird.
Mm-hmm.
But... And also, some people are upset because this week WWE completely revamped their logos, revamped their sets for Raw and SmackDown, and new music cues for the they just redid everything because it's the season premiere because SmackDown moved to a new network, so they just decided to start everything up as a new season, and revamped everything and freshened everything up, and none of that's going to be in the game. So the game's already out of date before it even comes out.
Rad! That sounds great. All right. Well, there you go, Chris. Marcus writes in and says, "What up, Jeff and John? Hope you are all doing well. Can you name 1 to 3 games that had a particular feature done so well that it should be standard for all future games? For example, I love the tutorial system in Horizon Zero Dawn. I love the co-op multiplayer in Remnant from the Ashes. And I love the quest design in Witcher 3 Wild Hunt because it's the first game I ever played where quests and side quests actually mattered. I feel these games set the bar for respective qualities I mentioned. What are your games that have features that should be the standard for all games? Keep up the great work. Loved content." And that's from Marcus. So I guess it's just like what games do certain features the best or so well that everybody should be like paying attention or up to that standard.
I feel like making an Untitled Goose Game joke, but I'm not gonna.
The Untitled Goose podcast. I don't know what you're talking about. I've changed the name to Goose Select. That's what we're doing now. I'm trying to think. There's been a few things out there. I feel like you know how like The Last of Us and Uncharted had that whole like frame blending animation thing where like when Drake goes up against the wall, like he doesn't always do the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like they'll kind of they have like a few different options and then kind of let this thing go, and it made this very like naturalistic look. And then I feel like only Uncharted ever did that.
Yeah.
That like I never saw that as much in other games. Like it drives me crazy when I play like Code Vein or some of these like kind of not lower budget, but like just kind of a lot of Japanese games. They apparently don't seem to take any time with character animation. Like when a character walks into a cutscene, they'll just be doing their normal walk cycle and then turn very robotically to the camera and start talking. And they don't have like idle animation gestures or anything like that. It's just this very much like very still, very stilted looking thing. And I know it's cost saving, right? Because you can just walk them out there with the animation you've already using. But in a lot of ways, I just feel like it's so outdated that, you know, when you play a game nowadays where they do that, it just to me comes off as like, I don't know, cheap, right?
I get that.
Expect more out of my games than that. I don't know. Anything coming to mind for you?
I don't know. Like, I feel like I know there's like stuff that we've played, and while we're playing it, I'm like, this is the best that this feature or function. I wish more games did this.
Yeah.
And I can't think of what any of them are.
What about the best? Who's got the best photo mode, John?
Ooh.
I know you're a fan of the photo mode.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Spider-Man probably has the best photo mode.
I'm trying to think. There's a lot of... This is a very difficult question because there's so few... I mean, like, I think of the top tier games. Like, I like Bloodborne a lot, but, like, I don't know, the combat system in Bloodborne works for Bloodborne, right? It wouldn't work in every game that's out there. I do think you should be able to skip over individual lines of dialogue, even in cutscenes. And you know what? I will put Yakuza up there as one of those ones because it's like...
Greedfall lets you do that.
Yeah, where I was playing... it wasn't Borderlands. It was Code Vein. When I was playing Code Vein, and you get into a cutscene, and it's like, I got the subtitles turned on. I just kind of want to get through this cutscene, and I can either skip the cutscene entirely, or you just have to watch it play out in real time. And I like being able to skip to whatever the next line of dialogue is.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I know there have been games out there that have like really stellar UI that just it's like a cut above, but it's hard to say because it's so conditional, right? Like it just does the UI from this great game work in this game, and it's like, well, because like, you talk about the Witcher 3 and the Witcher 3's side quests. I don't know. I feel like there were games that had good side quests before the Witcher 3. I mean, I think that a lot of the Grand Theft Auto games, they didn't have like trash quests. Like they were all, what you were doing in them was always kind of similar, but like they were written, right? They weren't just like, oh, I need you to go kill 20 badgers. It wasn't that MMO bullshit. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. It's a difficult question, Marcus.
Very difficult.
Yeah. I will say I like a tutorial system where you have to do stuff as opposed to stopping the whole game. I don't like it when tutorial systems have a big menu and you have to choose each individual lesson from the menu.
That was one of the things that bothered me with Astral Chain.
Oh, yeah?
Because you have to do all of them.
Yeah, I remember that.
You can't just do one and walk away. You have to do all of them, including the ones for basic fucking movement.
Yeah.
After the game already taught you how to do basic fucking movement.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well. Let's see. How about... this is a culinary question. Tell you what, let's do some Discord questions.
You made someone's heart go up, like, he's going to ask my culinary question. And then you moved on, and they're like,
we're coming back to it. We're coming back to it. Inner Slicey writes in and says, hey, video game peoples, back when the Wii U came out, I remember thinking that it would be the perfect platform to release a D&D game. The DM could use the tablet to craft a campaign for the rest of the group playing on the TV and still be in the room to convey the story and whatnot. Having not ever played D&D, am I missing the point in that it's about using your imagination to help craft the story, and limiting it to a video game would remove the point, or could a multiplayer D&D game actually work? Have a good one, and that's from Interslicey.
I mean, especially now with the fact that D&D is so miniature-based now, like tabletop with miniatures, and like you could totally do like an actual. I mean, I think there's actually virtual tabletop versions of D&D. I think like even Wizards of the Coast has even released a digital thing for that actually has like a digital dungeon that you can build, and then like you can move the players around in the digital dungeon as you're playing. So I think that kind of thing is doable.
I think that the major stumbling block is that I know there are a lot of systems like what you just described.
Yeah,
is that they're like apps. They're not games.
Yeah.
So like,
you're right.
It would probably be a hard sell, especially with somebody like Nintendo, to build, because if you build a game, that's where I feel like Interslicey's come about limiting your players to a specific rule set comes in if you're making a game.
I mean, it almost comes off. I mean, it comes off less as a. So, the biggest thing, like an app, which is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That is definitely something that can be done, because an app, you still requires the input of the DM to say, okay, let's build this out, and you're just using the app for visual representation.
Right.
For a game, like an actual game in D&D, the closest thing you could do would be essentially a Mario Maker style D&D game where a DM comes in and makes a level, which is a quest, and then builds a world in the game, and then the D&D never plays with the players because it's made, and then essentially it's just an RPG maker.
Right.
At that point, it's just an RPG maker, and there's less input from the DM because they're not.
Yeah, I think it's hard to straddle the line, because if you make a thing that has rules, then a game company is expected to tune those rules, right, to make it fun. Whereas with an app, like, if you're just translating the rules of DM into a thing, then your DM could just be like, what do you want to do? You want to put your hand in there? Okay, roll 20. No, you lost 5 hit points, right? Like, whereas if that same interaction in a game engine would be, you'd have to set up a whole set of rules. There would have to be an object
it's a little bit more difficult
interact with, and then it probably to be honest, it would probably end up being closer to something like a real-time version of like Dreams, right?
Yeah. Like I know that like Neverwinter Nights had a really good
it had a multiplayer version.
It had a multiplayer and it had a quest creator.
Yeah.
Where you could like essentially what I'm talking about, where you could make your own campaign, and it was very, very in depth.
Yeah.
But you're still just playing Neverwinter Nights.
Yeah.
Like it's not like you're like, oh, and I wanna, like you're the one guy who always like, oh, I'm in the bar. Are any chicks in here?
Yeah.
Oh, I want to try to hit on that chick. All right, roll charisma. I rolled a 20. Holy fuck. All right, yeah, she loves you. Let's go have sex. You can't do that in a game. And while I hate people that do that, and I've also done that as a joke, but it's there's a level of DM to player imagination and ingenuity, or whatever you want to call it, that can be done. Because again, when you're using the miniatures in D&D, it's just a visual representation of the room you're in,
right,
and where you are in that room.
Yeah,
it's not deciding what you can do in that space that you're in.
Yeah, of course.
Like you said, there could be a hole in the wall that's literally nothing, just a hole in the wall. When it was put there, it was designed just to be a hole in the wall. In a video game, can't interact with that hole.
Right.
In a regular D&D game, someone go, I want to stick my head. Is that hole big enough to stick my head in? Yeah, I want to stick my head in. All right, roll this, and then the DM has to come up with what happens when you do that.
And honestly, that's just D&D. Like I remember when I was on Randy, when he had his gaming things. Yeah, and he had that one system that was just like, it was an RPG system that didn't have any dice or anything in it. It was
Fiasco?
Just, I think so. It was your character was based on you, and then there were just kind of like opposing number sets that.
I don't know what that was.
And it was very open-ended. So it's like, everybody can just kind of do whatever they want to, and it's like the further like D&D. There's a whole set of RPGs like D&D and Shadowrun and things like that do have very rigid rule sets. Yeah. But then there are other RPGs like what's that Weird West one where it's like Cthulhu Wild West.
Is it called the Weird West?
I don't think it's something different. That one's got a whole system of like playing cards, and the playing cards go into the dice and the blah blah blah. But then there are other RPG systems.
Like, another RPG that I'm really into is Henshin, which has just had a Kickstarter that's probably almost about to end by the time this ends.
Yeah.
To actually have a physical book. They're token based. Like it's there's no dice. It's literally I want to do this crazy thing. Okay, well, to do that crazy thing, it would require a token. Do you have a token? Yes. Okay, give me that token. You can do it.
Right.
Do you have a token? No. Well, then you can't do it.
So there's like a whole spectrum of like D&D style RPGs where you've got very rules oriented ones, and then you've got very just kind of like, let's see what happens when a bunch of people come up with crazy ideas ones. So you also have all that stuff in between. I mean, I'm sure that there's a way. They've been trying for a long time. There was a whole boom. I feel like it's not around anymore, of making the Project Resistance, right, as a one adversarial, an adversarial DM to several players online type of thing.
Oh, I don't think
the Resident Evil game.
Oh, okay.
The where you've got the person controlling all the zombies and traps, and then you've got the 4 players trying to get out of it. There was that Fable one that got canceled, where it was like somebody played on an iPad and they would set stuff up. I bet the game industry has been trying to get that sort of thing together, but I know there are a lot of YouTube channels out there about people who just play D&D online, and it's just a screen capture of one of these app tools.
Yeah.
You get with some little Skype windows, right? And that's just how you do it. So I think it's possible. It's just the problem is that it would be very conditional, and I also think it'd be somewhat difficult to market. I don't think Nintendo would be good for that, because Nintendo wants there to be a game that people can play.
Yeah,
and it's easily understood.
What he's saying, though, the Wii U could have been something to do that, because then you're using the Wii U pad as the DM screen,
right?
And the TV is the actual game screen.
Yeah,
I totally get that, and I see what he's saying there, but unfortunately, now it can't really do that.
Yep. Kate Josie writes in and says, Dear Jeff and John, I want to know what you're reading right now. I'm about 130 pages into John Dies at the End, and it is just different enough from the movie to keep me reading. Oh, just you wait. After I finish it, I plan on finishing the first Expanse book, Leviathan Wakes, and then on to finish the second Witcher book, The Blood of Elves. Got a bit burned out on both books because of schoolwork and video games, and they got in the way. Also, social media was present a lot of the time. What are you reading right now, and was it difficult for you to stop reading a book and start back months later? Your loyal patron to the end, Kate Josie.
I'm technically about to find the answer to that question very soon.
Oh, yeah?
Because, the last book I read, and I kind of stopped, and I've got a lot to read, was the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton. It's kind of like I'm trying to think. It's it's kind of like a Quantum Leap thing where the main character keeps each day is at the end of each day he basically takes over the body of a new person.
Okay.
And he's trying to stop the death of Evelyn Hardcastle, and she dies at the end of each day.
Okay.
But he only can do it 7 times or 7 or 8 times or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So he has to figure out who murders her, why, and how to stop it.
Okay.
And it's kind of cool. It's kind of like it's Agatha Christie meets Quantum Leap, essentially.
Okay.
It's very, very much a lot of fun. It's got a nice hook. And
you stopped reading it?
Well, I stopped reading it because I don't really like. There was a period of time where I just had time to read novels, or read books, and then I kind of stopped. But then I'm about to have time again.
Okay,
and it's just one of those things I want to get back to it.
Yeah,
because I'm close to being done with it. Not close, but I think I'm about halfway through it. So I'm about to find out if you can actually take a many-month break from a book and then come back to it. Prior to that, I read. What else did I read? I read something else right before that I thought was pretty good. I read Warren Ellis's Crooked Little Vein.
Oh, okay.
Which is
I don't think I've ever read any of his novels.
It was all right. Like, I didn't hate it. Like, I thought it was good. It's just very glass half empty, pessimist, down in the dirt. Everybody's a piece of shit.
Oh, one of those Warren Ellis.
Yeah. Well,
was it funny, at least?
In a dark Warren Ellis kind of way.
Okay.
And then, what's another one the one I really liked that The Gone World was pretty good, which is a sci-fi. I think I've mentioned it before on the
I believe
podcast.
So, yeah.
By Tom Swerderslitch. I don't know how to pronounce his name. That one I did an audiobook of, The Gone World.
Okay.
And then comics-wise, I'm all over the place with comics. Like, I just finished the hardcover collection, the first hardcover collection for Black Magic, which was really good.
Okay.
Been reading a lot of horror by Cullen Bunn, specifically Bone Parish, which is kind of like a Narcos horror.
I think you've told me about that.
Yeah, it's I say Narcos, but it's not really Narcos. It's it's basically a family who deals in drugs, but the drug they deal in allows people to live the memories of dead people.
Okay.
That's the high, is living this other person's memory.
Okay.
But the way to make the drug is they need the dead body of the person. So they're grave digging bodies of famous people, or people who have interesting lives or died in interesting ways, like musicians, and then are creating a drug that then people will snort and cocaine, and they then kind of live in that moment. Relive, but there's also other aspects, and then other drug cartels are trying to take over the family, trying to be like, well, we want to buy you out, and they're like, well, we don't want to sell, fuck off, and they're like, well, then we'll kill you all and take your drug and figure out how you made it anyways.
Okay.
And so there's this whole kind of gang war, drug war thing going on.
Sounds good.
And then there's also a really bad supernatural element to it, because you're messing with dead people.
Yeah, I can see some downsides.
And there's some other aspects, some side effects of things, and it's crazy. It's good.
Okay.
Two volumes are out in hard or in soft cover, and then I think the single issues, they're well past. They're still got more to go, and I think the third volume's coming out before the end of the year. But it's pretty good. I liked it. Anything with Cullen Bunn's name on it, I've been reading a lot lately, and that wasn't even intentional in comics, because he just writes a lot of horror comics.
Okay.
And when I buy like collected trade paperbacks that I've never read, I'm usually looking at the cover. If the art looks good, or if it has the blurb seems interesting, like oh, that's an interesting pitch, I will pick that up. And I just started buying a bunch of horror because I was in the mood for horror. And then I noticed the other day that they were all written by the same guy.
Oh, okay.
I was like, oh wow, he's just been writing a shitload of horror comics.
I actually have just been standard sci-fi stuff. I was reading all the spin-offs. There was like 14 books in this one series, and then I started reading the spin-offs of it. That was all the Honor Harrington stuff from David Weber. But I finished the last book, and I didn't have money to buy the next one, so I went over to my Amazon Kindle Unlimited, and I'm reading this J. Allen, The Blood on the Stars thing, which is just more sci-fi, just a bunch of Captain Spaceman, and this one is the 12th book, and the 13th is already out because I was reading those other books for so long. But actually, I watched the Good Omens on Amazon.
Oh, okay.
And I was actually thinking about going back and rereading Good Omens because I read it a long time ago, but I remember it being good. And watching the show, I was like, maybe go read that again. I don't know. There was, that's pretty much it though. I'm pretty stuck in my ways when it comes to. I haven't. I've got all these authors that I read, but it's just, I'll go read the 2 books from this one guy, and then by the time that's done, there'll be 3 books out from this other guy, and then I'll go back to that other book series I was reading from that other guy, and I just kind of bounce around.
And I've told you, I we've talked about it before. Like, I don't read a lot. Like, I'm actually surprised how many novels I've read recently because I don't typically read novels unless they're like autobiographies.
Yeah,
most of my reading is comics.
Yeah,
and
I've actually been really interested. Jason pitched me hard on the new X-Men comic that's out.
I have heard that Power of X and whatever the other one other companion comic that is fucking phenomenal. Like, they are reinventing the X-Men in like an amazing way. I've heard nothing but good things. I don't know nothing about it. I'm not reading it.
Yeah.
I surprisingly it's kind of funny because like there used to be a time when I was like all about like the core Marvel and DC books. Like, I would read Avengers, and I would read Justice League and Green Lantern and Superman and the Flash, and now if you look at my pull list, it's usually stuff not released by Marvel and DC, and if it is Marvel and DC, it's kind of fringe stuff, like the current Lois Lane miniseries that's going on, which is really good, or the current Jimmy Olsen miniseries that's going on, which is funny as hell. Or smaller characters like Daredevil, but Daredevil's one of my favorite comic characters, so it's no surprise there that I'm reading Daredevil.
Yeah.
But and then most of the stuff I've been reading comic wise, like Die, which is one I've mentioned before, which is kind of like a the people have referred to it as goth Jumanji. Where it's basically kids play a D&D style tabletop RPG and get sucked into the world.
Yeah, you've definitely told me about that
good one. There's another book if you're a fan of like Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z or those style of stories.
Okay.
Called No One Left to Fight, which is I think it's like a 5 or 6 issue miniseries, and the 4th issue just came out. That's kind of really good. It's kind of what happens when there's no one left to fight. It's one of those kind of characters that's very much
kind of like One Punch Man type of thing, or
not really. It's like Dragon Ball, but there are no more villains anymore.
Okay,
and so it's like what is someone whose entire life has been fighting the next big bad and fighting the next big bad, and then suddenly there's no more big bads.
Okay,
and kind of what
do you do then?
Where does he go from there?
Okay.
And it's actually really good. It's really well written. Like I said, if you're a fan of Dragon Ball Z or those type of shows, One Punch Man probably would fall into that, though not as much. If you're a fan of those type of shows, definitely that's a comic to check out in single issue or when it comes out collected.
Okay.
No One Left to Fight's a good one.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's run through a couple more of these. Septum Sin writes in and says, Dear Rage Gods, as more and more powerful games release on the road to PS5, I can't help but wonder if my less powerful regular PS4 can take up the slack on games like Final Fantasy VII Remake or Death Stranding. Should I get a PS4 Pro or PS5 for tackling these, or do you think my normal PS4 can handle the power? Your patron Septum Sin versus the world. You do regular PS4, right?
Yeah. Well, it died.
Well, yes, but previous to that, had you found yourself? I mean, like God of War, Spider-Man.
I mean, it was all ran fine. I think the biggest game that I've had the biggest problem with was probably Control with the load-in issues.
Oh yeah. Control runs like garbage on my PS4 Pro. So,
but they've actually released patches to fix a lot of that stuff since. But like I think that Control was really the first one that I actually had like major issues with, and it wasn't even like a game breaking issue. It was just like, it takes a little bit to load stuff.
I always found that it feels like if a game is good, it doesn't matter. Yeah. If a game is good, like most good. And not to say that Remedy is bad or anything, but like most AAA developers will make sure that a game runs fairly well, right? So I don't think it's that big of a problem.
I don't see any issues with it. Like in all honesty, if it wasn't for the fact that, and I'm pretty sure it's a power supply issue on my PS4.
Yeah.
And it may even be something that might quote unquote fix itself. But
I'd say if you have a PS4 regular, I would wait for PS5.
Yeah, I mean, like that was my plan. Like I wasn't going to upgrade, but like now that I'm having issues with mine, I might. But even then, I'm still kind of like, but I might not.
Yeah, because I'd be surprised if the PS5 doesn't have PS4 backwards compatibility because it's all PC architecture, right? So there's no reason that
one would hope
an x86 PS5. They're bringing back the cell processor. It's got 3 times as many cells as a PS3. So the PS5 can play PS3 games, but not PS4 games. That would be weird. Let's see. Dan K writes in and says, "Hey, Rage Slate, how do you feel about the current state of VR? Is your interest still strong or has it waned? After recently acquiring an Oculus, it's definitely a great experience for me. I'm just waiting for a true killer app." And that's from a patron, Dan K.
It's waned. I don't think I haven't touched my PlayStation VR in 7 months.
Yeah. There hasn't been enough stuff. I think Gorn, they announced at the State of Play that they're putting Gorn out on the PlayStation, and I've been wanting to play that for a long time, the Free Lives Arena Fighter game. But yeah, I mean, I think that I think the problem that I have with it is that it feels like VR is now, like when it launched, I feel like there was a lot of cross-pollination between like, here's Resident Evil 7, and also you could play it on VR if you want. But then as time has gone on, I feel like VR has gotten very like segmented off into its own grouping of games. And I was hoping there would be more. I also feel like
there's been less. And yes, I know that the State of Play has a VR section.
Yeah.
I feel like there's been less focus on VR. Because I could, if you, when the PSVR first came out, I knew what was coming out every week for the PSVR, every game. I had new information about it. I had, it was just always being told to me.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you what came out within the last 6 months.
There hasn't been a lot. I think Trover was probably the last big VR game that was interesting, but it's slowed down, and I don't know. I think that they should have more cross-pollination. Like, I don't know if there's any reason why you couldn't have had the Resident Evil 2. I mean, the RE engine that Capcom is using works in VR. We know that, right? Because RE7 worked in VR. So, like, the fact that there was nothing in RE2, there was nothing in Devil May Cry 5, when those both run on that same engine, was a little, like, I don't know, disappointing. Like, Battlefront had that one, it was like a mission, right, where it was in space, and it was great. It was a great like X-Wing mission, but I guess it just feels like the major companies are not putting anything into VR these days.
And I have to say, and I think it's because there's a slow adoption rate to VR, so they're not seeing the sales that they thought they were going to, and because of that, they've cut back on it because they know it's a niche market and they're not going to make a ton of money, which has only not helped things.
Right. Well, especially when you look at the way that it seems like a lot of companies have gotten into this. Not all companies, but a lot of companies like Ubisoft or Activision or EA have seemed to get into this thing where it's like they are only interested in making a thing that will get the maximum amount of profits humanly possible in return. So, I don't know, Dan. I'm still holding out hope, but what can you say? All right, I said I was going to do these cooking questions, so we'll wrap up with these cooking questions. I got 2 here. Paul writes in and says, howdy, Sheriff Jeff, and honestly more stable deputy co-host John. First off, I like to say Food Select would be a great cooking show name to go with. Wink, wink. The Food Select is, of course, the name of the food channel on the Discord. My question this week is with the Twilight actor. Oh, wait, this isn't a food. Wait, okay, there's one food. Damn it. All right, hold on. My question this week is, with the Twilight actor Robert Pattinson being announced as the new Batman, made me think that even though I wasn't a big fan of his Twilight movies, that shouldn't limit him in his acting career. I would say the same with Stranger Things kid, as the actress that plays Eleven has been appearing in more media. Would you say that more niche actors are coming out to take bigger roles more quickly because of how big web media has gotten? And if so, are there any small-time actors you would like to see play certain roles? Also, sorry for the poorly written question. Love, Paul. And then this is why it got me up to his P.S. What's your favorite food to make with beef? We'll get back to that. So, I don't know. I feel like what you're describing is just we've always had that thing, right? Where like
Paul Giamatti plays the Rhino
or
in Spider-Man,
right?
Amazing Spider-Man 2, or somebody's
in a thing, and then that thing takes off, and then they want to put that person in a bunch of other stuff, right?
Yeah.
I feel like I didn't see Joseph Gordon-Levitt very much until Brick, and then it's like he was in Inception and Batman, and he obviously Christopher Nolan and him obviously got along really well, or like every so often there'll be a new person that just kind of seems like they're in everything now, and so it's just whether a thing gets popular or not. I don't know. Like I don't see the lady that plays Gina on Brooklyn Nine-Nine and everything,
though she wants to be.
Yeah.
I mean, they all do.
Right. So I think it just matters.
Like the other actress from... Wait, which one is Gina in Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
She was the receptionist.
Okay, not her, but the other actress, the one that plays the one with the attitude.
Oh, Rosa?
Rosa?
Yeah.
I know she's been trying to get into a Marvel movie hardcore.
Yeah.
Like, she first pitched that she wanted to be America Chavez in a live-action like TV series or movie, and then when pretty much everyone went, yeah, but you're too old for that character because that character's like a teenage, like maybe like 18, 19, 20-year-old.
Yeah.
She went, okay, then I want to be She-Hulk, goddammit. And so she's like pushing really hard to be She-Hulk.
Okay.
Especially now that they've announced that there's a TV series.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like we've seen this a lot of times where you never heard of somebody, and then they ruin one thing, and then it gets big, and then suddenly they're in everything. Yeah. So,
I mean, look at what was it? Jeffrey Dean Morgan?
No, I won't. I don't know who that is.
Well, he's you know who he is. He played the comedian in Watchmen. He's Negan in The Walking Dead.
Okay. I don't know that I've seen a lot of things with him in it, though. What all has he been in outside of those?
He was in Supernatural. He was the father in Supernatural. He was actually Batman or Bruce Wayne's father in Batman v Superman in the flashback sequences. He's been in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I just don't know that I've.
But like he was like not really in a lot, and then he was at
Red Dawn,
and then just one day he was in everything.
Yeah, Rampage. Yeah, I haven't seen like most of these things. It's on Jag. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's like I always feel there's always every so often there. I mean, Margot Robbie, right? She was. I just don't remember her being in anything, and then she was in The Wolf of Wall Street, and then suddenly it was like she's just all over the fucking place, So, but what's your favorite food to make with beef, John? What's your favorite beef food that you make? Cow
beef stroganoff.
Beef stroganoff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I've never made beef stroganoff before. With all the noodles and casserole dish and all that stuff.
Well, it's not really a casserole dish, but I mean, it's noodles and beef, and it's good.
Okay.
It's like ground beef, though.
I'm going to discount steaks because steak would probably be my favorite, but I do like to make a good roast. I've been thinking about busting out another roast recently.
Okay.
Big pot roast. All right. And one last one before we go. This comes from Brandon. Brandon says, hey, Jeff John, Brandon here with one of them questions. I'm sort of getting into cooking and I want to start prepping lunches for work so I'm not eating out all the time. What is a fairly quick and easy meal that I could make? Thanks for all the hard work. Literally the only podcast I listen to anymore. P.S. My office microwave is disgusting. So cold foods would be preferable. And that is from Brandon. I know that you've had some at do you do any kind of lunch? What have you been lunching at? You haven't been eating out as much for lunch?
No, I eat at home.
Okay.
Because I don't have a car.
Okay.
So I'm stuck at home because I work from home now.
Yeah.
Because my jobs made us all work from home. Yeah. So I mostly just have like just basic sandwiches, just meat. I buy lunch meat, bread. Same stuff you would make, your mom would make you in elementary school or middle school or whatever. Just slap some meat, slap some cheese on it. If you want to slap more than that on it, go ahead and do it. But that's that. I mean, I'm just meat and cheese kind of guy, so it's just bread, meat, cheese, and then I have like a little thing of Pringles that I had little lunch. Yeah,
a little mini Pringles.
It's funny because like I bought a bunch of stuff for me for lunch, and then a lady asked if I was buying like school lunches for my kids. I was like, no, this is all for me.
This is my lunch.
Because like I also bought like, I'd also buy like Swiss cake rolls or little
pudding cups.
No, I don't buy roll-ups. I don't buy pudding cups, but I bought like granola bars and Pop Tarts and SpaghettiOs and a little cupped microwavable mac and cheese.
Yeah,
like I buy kid shit for myself.
Okay. Nothing wrong with that.
And I have some frozen, some like Totino's frozen pizza, but that's too long to make while I'm on an hour lunch break. So I want something quick. And
if I could make a suggestion, this is going to Brandon. This would just going to mess up.
So I am not the person to ask because I eat like a child.
I don't know. I mean, that's a good thing. What I would suggest, I would put a small modification, because if all you're making is a sandwich like what you described, I think it's fine. But I think if you're making a sandwich that has condiments or vegetables on it, that you would be better to bring your sandwich in pieces and then assemble it when you're ready to eat. So, like, if you took a couple of bags, or I don't know, get a little box or something, and took, like, your meat and cheese can go together, and then your vegetables, you can slice those up ahead of time, and they go together, and then, like, maybe some packets of mayo or mustard or a few condiments, right? But keep your bread out of there, right? I don't like cold bread. And then when it comes time to eat your lunch, all you do is just, put the condiments, put the meat and cheese on, slap the vegetables on, close the whole thing up, and boom, 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 you get yourself a sandwich. But Brandon, I'm going to tell you some sandwich secrets. Not everybody knows these, but you listened all the way to the end to hear these sandwich secrets. Sandwich secrets. Always throw a little bit of red wine vinegar on your sandwich if you've got like a lettuce and tomato sandwich, because it gives it a tangy zip. You also throw some paprika or smoked paprika on it. But if you really want to get fancy, I got my lunch is I got my sandwich technique down, motherfucker, because what you do is you boil an egg, and then you take the egg and slice it into slices and make like a turkey sandwich, and then put the boiled egg slices on the sandwich, and then put some paprika on it. It's like you got a deviled egg inside of your sandwich. Oh man. Boy, the protein.
Welcome to Flavor Town.
That's right. It is amazing and delicious. And if you're making a regular peanut butter and jelly sandwich, or I don't eat jelly because I think it's kind of watery and gross, so I just eat peanut butter sandwiches. But if you take a peanut butter sandwich and you bust out a little thing of cinnamon, put a little cinnamon in your peanut butter sandwich, get a little spicy, get a little sweet, get a little up in there. Boom, do that. That was good too. So,
secret.
Yeah.
Sandwich
secrets. Here's another one for you. I just thought of this, Brandon. Bonus. Last thing. Look into soups and chilies. Soups and chilies are great for lunch, and they're easy to take in there. I guess you'd have to put them in the microwave, so the microwave's gross. But if you could do that, I don't know.
Also, look up different types of salads. I mean, I'm not a salad person, in all honesty, but I know if like Amanda was here, she'd be like, "Oh, you can totally make salad. Do this," and like, don't if you're into salads or different stuff. I mean, there's stuff online where you can just like literally. Amanda goes to the grocery store and she buys like different stuff, and then she makes like an entire week's meal like in one day, and then just has little containers that she takes with her to work, and one for each day of the week, and and she doesn't and she prepares it in a way that it's not the same salad every day.
Yeah.
Like she looks up what she wants to do and kind of looks at what has similar ingredients,
right,
but maybe not the same ingredients in every one.
Yeah. So you're going to remix it over a few days.
And then you kind of remix the ingredients over a couple days, and that way you're not always having the same salad. Maybe this week it's a salad, and then the next day it's a sandwich using some of those salad components.
Or a wrap.
And then another day it's a wrap, and then the next day it's a different type of salad.
Mm-hmm. If you're gonna get a salad, you gotta get some of them cranberries. Those
dried salad,
dried those little cranberry craisins. Get some craisins, throw them in there. A little
it's crazy
flavor explode. Pow! Flavor explosion. Just I'm eating my salad. Oh shit! Where did that come from? Yeah. Also, avocado is good on everything. You put avocado on everything.
Yeah, a lot of people put avocado on stuff.
On everything. That's our show. Mail@rageselect.com is the email address to send in your questions. And with that, are we going to go get some salads now?
No.
It's time for salads?
I don't like salads.
What about a sandwich with a boiled egg on it?
No.
What about a can of SpaghettiOs?
No, I'm good. I've already eaten.
I'm so hungry.